Hey guys, welcome back to Small Trees. I didn't have any spare garden footage, so today instead I'm going to use these clips from Call of Duty. I do game a pretty good bit, and I could make videos on another channel if you guys will be interested. Just let me know in the comments. Anyway, today I'm going to show you another tree that I worked on in February this year. It's really unique, and I think it's going to be one of those things that either turns out terrible or great with really, no in between. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so I already know somebody's gonna say you should have made the cut while it was still in the ground. Probably, but I want to make sure that that's not gonna look stupid before I cut it, because I'm not really sure what the roots look like. I don't remember, so I want to get a better idea before I commit to that. It's probably the best option because there's nothing else down here, but I still want to make sure first, right? Measure twice, cut once, and all that good stuff. So let's grab some stuff and knock some soil off of it. Start on the bottom. So I'm just gonna make a pile under me here. I don't have a tub or anything for the soil this time. Try to catch it all in this little pot, I guess. Okay. We will get the top here. I'm kind of curious about this backside. Looks like it has no nabari. Curious if there is anything back here. I feel like the answer is no, or I would not have planted it at a slant, but you never know. We'll just kind of loosen this a little bit, and then I'm going to hit it with the hose. Sorry if my shadow gets in the way a little bit. I am more or less running a marathon, trying to work everything that I can today, so it's not perfect. It's never, I know my filming's never great, but I do my best usually. Oh, hey, it was planted on a board. Okay, so we do have a piece of metal, and I guess I just cut some roots that were growing up last year and then left it. That's what it looks like. So that's interesting. It'd be more interesting if this was filled in too, though. But I guess let's look at it. I have some bumblebees, like the carpenter bees, that are really into me for some reason. I don't know what it is. Okay, so I thought that I was being smart by ordering extra batteries, and I guess I ordered fake ones because it lasted about 10 minutes. So I'm not sure what just got cut off. So I'm gonna go back to just jump back where I was. So this tree was planted on metal, but it looks like last year I just cut some upward facing roots and then just put it back in the ground, probably because it's kind of ugly. And you can kind of see, I'm gonna have to turn it this way for the sun. This whole side of the nabari is fused, which is nice. But if this side, what is this? If this was fused, and if this was fused, it'd be really nice. As it sits, it's just kind of ugly. But the question here is, can we cut to this and use it as a leader? So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and maybe I'll turn this way a little bit and turn the tree so that the sun isn't causing all kind of weird shadows on it. Okay, so the slant of the tree is this way. So if we cut to this branch, it's not exactly counter to that sway, to that lean, but it's not bad. It's better. I mean, this is not going to be able to be wired up. There is a little bud on the back right here. But I think that since this tree's already kind of ugly, I'll just cut it really low, and we'll plant it at this slant and try to get this area in here to fill in. Now as far as what I'm gonna do with the rest of the roots, I am gonna reduce like the really big ones like this one, but I think, I'm gonna clean this up so that's not just a knob, so that it looks like it's actually fused, and clean that up too, and clean that up, and let these other big ones on this side run this year, and hopefully they'll be closer to closing that gap. And then if that gap is closed, we can rotate it this way a little bit, and it will look better. It'll look more complete. It doesn't, I mean, it's got a complete lack of Nebari on the back side, but if you're making a slant, you want the roots opposite the slant to be the stronger ones, because it gives the image that the tree's being held into place by these stronger roots. So I'm just gonna clean up these knobs, and on this side get the bigger ones, and make that chop. I'll make the chop first, because right now this is kind of held in place with this board, so it's a little more stable than if I were to cut it afterwards. So I'm gonna make the cut, and then we will clean up the roots, and then I think this will need a year at least, but it does have a bud right here, which is good for the next trunk portion. I'll try to keep that short. So let me go get a saw and cut this. Gotta pause the video because the camera will die if I don't, so I'll be back in a minute. I did one better. I made the cut off screen, so now you can't complain about it. It's a pretty good cut, if I do say so myself. The angle's good from this side, and if we turn it this way, it's also good. It's very good in line with that. I think that's an A in my book. Cut paste on it real quick. And by quick, I mean quick, because in my head I'm racing against the battery of this camera. So I've got to do everything as quick as I can, but I don't want to screw it up, so there's a balance. What do we want to remove here? Let me grab some smaller tools. Are these good? Yeah. We want this to be shorter. I'm gonna leave everything under the board, just because this isn't at the stage yet where I need to remove it, and it acts to keep everything solid, so I'll just leave it. On the back here, there's a root that grew up for some reason, so we'll just go ahead and get rid of that, and any other ones that are up like that. Okay, so we're speed running this. I do need to, probably missed it a little bit. It's what was today, March the 4th, 5th, and it's like 90 something out here, so I'm gonna be nice and sunburned when I get done with this, but it's okay, I need a tan anyway. All right, so I said the back side, being the left side, I guess, I was going to let run pretty freely. All I'm gonna cut are roots that are growing straight up. Straight down I will worry about later, like next year. I want plenty of growth on this side. I want this to come close, like at least close this gap a little bit, right? So I'm gonna leave most of this wild, and hopefully we get a lot of growth here. This thickens enough that scars up. We can make a cut here next year and wire it, and then we'll have actually a pretty decent tree. So it's a little better. So we need to clean up these knobs. Let me zoom in on them. Come a little bit closer too. So for knobs like this, get it to sit still, you're going to want to use very aptly named knob cutters because they cut concave, and they will, you want to remove the bulge, that's what they do. So I've got these smaller ones here, but I would like to use my larger ones. Let me find them. So we're gonna have to use the smaller ones. I want ones that were bigger so they could get all of this in one cut. It will be cleaner. But I don't know where they are. So the options are to use these, or I can try with some branch cutters and then go back in with these. That might be the next best thing. One thing to remember when you're working trees, like I'm doing, this is bare root. It's, like I said, it's spring, but it's 90 degrees outside. Make sure that you keep your roots misted. Don't let them dry out. It will cause, I mean, in worst case it could kill them, but it'll definitely affect their vitality for the rest of the year. So let's go this way with this. Let's just kind of, see, that's not bad. And then from there, I might not even need to use the knob cutters. I have these cool ones that are like concave cutters, but they are rounded, so they kind of work almost as a knob cutter, but they're also a branch cutter. So I forget, I think these were fairly expensive. They're $70 or $80, but they are really useful. Not in this particular situation so much, but when you're cutting branches, if you want to cut here, it'll make a nice round cut. Those not quite the tool for this. All I want to do is get in here a little bit so that when it heals, it's not a knob as much. It's going to still have the scar, but I don't want it to stick out. So we will just try to eat at the inner part of this a little bit, so the scar will roll inward and not, you know, up. Let's see if I can get one more out of it. Here we go. All right, let's repeat with this one. That's a bigger knob. If it had rooted right here and come in here, that would have been ideal, but it obviously didn't. So I'm gonna cut it. I might get in the, my shadow is fine. I'm gonna cut it like, I think like this. A little bit more. Ow. I got stung by something. A little bit more. Clean up that. If these will grab. I know there's a trick to using knob cutters once you've already made a cut, but I look like an idiot trying to get that further in cut. I can't ever get it to grab like I want it. What is after me? Oh, it's like a carpenter bee. It's not stinging me, but it's really, really interested in me. Something stung me though. We'll just seal these. I'm gonna be sloppy with it. It's fine. Okay, so maybe those will heal over and be a little less ugly next year. Of course, I'm leaving a bunch on the table that needs to be fixed. This side is gonna need to be severely addressed. This is gonna need to be reduced a lot, but I'm gonna give it one more year of growth, and hopefully this gets up a lot, and we can have a nice little leader, and then we'll work the roots next year, and then we'll have a decent, you know, an actual tree going here. So for now, this one goes right back into the ground, and I go right back to working on seedlings, I guess. I think that's gonna be it, but this one will keep this one in your mind, because I think next year this will actually be like surprisingly good. It'll need obviously that work, but I think that it'll actually look way better than what it does right now. So we'll see next year. Until next time.